yeah, there he is.
There you go. There you go.
What's up, man? Looking good.
Hanging in there. You know how that goes.
Where are you? You're in Wilmington or something, right?
Yeah, we moved to Wilmington, North Carolina. So
nice. I wanted to start off where I was going to end because I think it's most important and important to you at least. Talk to me about Readers or Leaders.
We started Readers or Leaders in 2002 with just one school. We worked with Terracet Elementary, and we used all three of our programs to support them. Readers or Leaders is a program that's student athletes mentoring elementary school students in reading. And I felt it was very important. We were always collectively having our hand out, trying to raise money to go on trips and things like that. But we wanted to find another way that our student athletes could give back to the community. And with my background as an elementary school teacher, second grade for over 31 years, I felt it was important that we try to put literacy and, the sport together. And we were able to put it together. And since 2002 to today, we have the program rolling. We have over 1,600 students affiliated in the Northern Virginia, Maryland area, DC area. And we also have, we started a program here in North Carolina. We have 2 high schools, local high schools, supporting the elementary schools here. And hopefully we'll be able to advance that as time goes on.
Yeah, I have not been able to participate in the golf weekend, but are you going to have it this year?
We are. Last year, the pandemic, the crazy COVID-19 just kind of messed things up for us. But this year, Friday, September 24th, it'll be back at Reston National. And I want everybody to mark their calendars, no excuses.
PB and I were just talking about it yesterday.
Oh, good. And it's a fun tournament. Everybody comes out. We have a lot of, former players and teachers and things show up. So it has been productive. This is our largest fundraiser. That's the number one fundraiser for Readers or Leaders to support all those. Because Readers or Leaders, we also give every elementary school student that participates receives 10 brand new books. We work with Bookworm Company out of Manassas. So they actually ship them into all the students. And they also get reading incentives also, to keep kids motivated, gummy erase, all that good stuff to keep them motivated as well. And the student athletes, each team that participates receives $1,000 to go towards helping defray the cost for them going on a trip or buying fun packs and things like that.
Man, that's a win-win. That's awesome. Congratulations on that, man. That's 19 years now going on.
Oh,
that's impressive. That's impressive. So the cool thing about this Northern Virginia Legends thing is Northern Virginia history. So, everybody knows you as the coach of South Lakes, but let's go back. You grew up in Falls Church, right?
That's correct.
And what high school did you go to?
Went to George Mason High School, little school, City of Falls Church. When I was playing, was considered a AAA, so it was AA then. We were AA then.
Right. And your older brother went to Luther Jackson, right?
My older brother went to Luther Jackson until he finished his sophomore year, and then schools were integrated. And when schools were integrated, totally integrated.
Right.
When they were totally integrated, we lived in the City of Falls Church. We were 2 houses beyond going to Fairfax County Public Schools. And so he and about 5 other families that lived 5 black families that lived in the City of Falls Church then went to George Mason High School. They did very, academically and athletically, that the group that did very, very well.
So Gerald was kind of like, you were like the little brother trying to emulate the big brother?
Gerald was 7 years older than me, 6 years older. And, he used to smack me in the back of my head. And, we roomed together. So, he just wore me out,
And what was it like playing for George Mason for you? Didn't you guys have to travel a lot for your games?
Great deal. We played in Winchester, West Virginia, Fort Care County. We traveled all the time. So we had a great time doing that. There were, during that period of time with schools just being integrated, it was a little, a little rough, a little dicey at times, but to be expected, and to let people know that all people are all people, and let's
Right.
move forward with it. But we had a great deal of support from the City of Falls Church people that attended games, and they traveled with us, and it was great.
Yeah. So you guys were playing big schools and little schools then? It was kind of a mix.
Exactly. I mean, we played James Wood. They were a very, very large school. Our population was extremely small. Everybody played every sport. I played football and basketball. My football coach became the track coach, so I also ran track one year because he said, "Birdie, you got to go do track because I got to coach."
Right.
I was probably a better football player than I was basketball player, but I like the short shorts, and I didn't want to wear all that equipment all the time. So
it's almost like you're reading my mind, Coach, because when I had to make the decision, I was like, let's see, 2-a-days in August and hot football, and then by the time the season ends, it's snowing and cold, muddy. Yeah, give me that 72 degrees, tank tops and shorts.
Exactly. Who wants all that? So I had the opportunity to play football in college, but I chose the latter, and I enjoyed it. I wanted to follow my brother. He was a tremendous player. He played at when he went to college, he went to Spring Arbor College up in Michigan, and had a great career up there. And it was fun. It was fun to watch those guys in high school. Most of the players that were integrated, I know you had talked to Jimmy and the guys, but the players from Luther Jackson then went to they went to Woodson High School, and Red Jenkins was able to capitalize on that.
Yeah. He got a nice little gift laid in his lap, huh?
Huge gift. And George Felton was the coach of that group of Skippy and Hawkins and all those guys, and he then took them on. He thought he could get my brother too, but he was not successful in getting it. It didn't work. It didn't work for him.
Right. You mentioned college. Where'd you go to college?
I went to York College up in York, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, PA. The PA move.
It worked out for me. And I was, a lot of people don't know this, but I was a JC product as well. I went to Brandywine College in Wilmington, Delaware, which was the sister college of York College. And I was on scholarship all 4 years there, and it worked out very well for me.
Wow. York is a small town. It's changed a lot.
It's a blink. You can miss it.
So when did you decide that how did the coaching thing come? Did you always want to be a coach?
Well, I coached little kid when I was growing up. I did the Roa League, like the summer leagues, and I coached little kids, 9 and 10, 12-year-olds when I was playing basketball, and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't sure what I was going to major in and things like that. But as I got into my career of studies, I felt that would be I thought it would be a fun opportunity for me. But I had to be able to juggle it because I was an elementary school teacher, and I was trying to figure out how could I do this? How could I coach and still do the elementary realm also?
So was South Lakes your first coaching gig?
Well, it's funny. Yes. South Lakes was my second. I interviewed with Doug Crupper. Doug Crupper was my mentor. Doug Crupper had just received the job at McLean High School. So they put an ad out in the paper, saying they're looking for coaches. So I put mine in, and Doug interviewed me and said, this is completely different. This is McLean High School. So, I'm coming from Robinson. He was coming from Robinson to McLean. So, it was a little different. And I said, Coach, all I want to do is try to figure out how to coach. And he was a tremendous mentor to me. We stayed there 2 years, and then South Lakes did open. At South Lakes, we played a varsity schedule with sophomore players, and did extremely well. You talk Monty Player and Michael, that whole crew came through. But that's how that all evolved.
Yeah, because Crupper was the first varsity coach, and you assuming the JV coach, and it's like an embarrassing riches to end up at South Lakes, and your first team has Michael Jackson on it, which he set the bar pretty high for anyone coming after. What was it like coaching him?
Just the work ethic. I mean, tremendous work ethic. The knowledge of the game just promoted so much enthusiasm for the players with him, but also the fans. I mean, they just loved his game. And Big John, Coach Thompson, just loved the way he played and was able to move it along quite gracefully at Georgetown.
Yeah, and that team also had Dave Hershey on it too, right? Who went to Richmond?
Oh yeah, Dave went to Richmond, had a tremendous career. Dave was a flamboyant. He was just a smooth type of player. He did a lot of things that
on and off the court.
You said it, I didn't.
My apologies to Dave. So you say Coach Crupper was a big influence, and then he went to Chantilly, right?
Right. He left South Lakes and went to Chantilly. Jim Lewis came in for 2 years, or 2 years, and then I took the job over at South Lakes.
Yeah, so you and Coach Lewis probably had a pretty tight relationship, just because you're working together through the season pretty much every day, right?
Well, he's Jim. I mean, just the knowledge of the game. I mean, he would still be coaching. I mean, he wants to coach.
Yeah, it's in his blood.
I don't want to speak for him, but he's a journeyman. I mean, the knowledge of the game and how he promotes and how he gets it done. And I learned a lot of X's and O's, a lot of X's and O's from Jimmy, the time that we spent together.
Yeah, so you have this great first team. Did you have any inkling that it was just going to keep continuing, that a public high school would have the kind of talent that it had?
Well, I mean, Reston is, as you know, is a very diverse community. It has economically, it's diverse as well. You have your subsidized housing to your $1 million homes, and with that brings out a lot of different kids, and it was beautiful because you mix everybody together. Everybody wants to work together. Everybody wants to be the best. And from the kids that are down below to the kids that are way high in the respect of economics, they want to work together to win. I mean, that's the bottom line. They want to win. And they pulled together and they helped and they supported each other the entire time that I was there.
Yeah, I thought one of the keys, the youth program was so strong in Reston. I think that was probably the major, other than, my tired ass just showing up out of the blue with a letter of recommendation from my varsity coach in Texas, which Coach Lewis still kills me about, and having Michael grow up there. And I want to do not word association, but give me a sentence on some of these guys. I want to start with just your impressions of them coaching them with Jerome Scott.
Tremendous score. Anytime you wanted the bucket, he had it.
Inside-out game was ridiculous.
Yes, I mean, just absolutely flamboyant. I mean, and capacity. I mean, I'm not giving you one word association. I apologize.
Yeah, no. I want you to give me sentences.
I mean, he, I still remember us calling timeout. We're losing by bucket, and we had an alley-oop. We had the design alley-oop. I said, Jerome, you get to shoot it or you get to oop it to Grant. He said, Coach, I got it. And and he could do either. I mean, he could fill it up, but we came off the pick. The great pick was set. He came off the pick. It flew up in the air. I said, oh, he's going to shoot it. No, it's a oop. He grabbed it real high, boom, and it's over.
That was like a district championship game or something. That was a big game.
It was.
I think Grant wasn't Grant a freshman, sophomore, maybe?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But the confidence he had in his teammate was tremendous. And he knew he could, he was a flamboyant scorer. I mean, he went to Miami. I mean, he played every minute in Miami.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great leader right there. How about Rob Robinson?
Underrated. I'm going to say that because people, he played with a great bunch of guys, and Grant kind of overshadowed a few people. He goes to Niagara, sets the world on fire. His work ethic, that's the thing about the players that come out of South Lakes. Strong work ethic. He wanted to become better, and he worked at it every day. But he was underrated. He was underrated, and all of a sudden he sneaks up on you. Other players don't have that much fun. And he's got 20, 25. He's got 10 rebounds.
Yeah, I love this game. I love watching those guys. After I had the pleasure of having Michael as a mentor, and probably wouldn't have even gotten a scholarship hadn't it been for his guidance and telling me, this is what you got to do. This is how you got to step it up. Because I was kind of just doing it because I was okay at it. Right. And so it kind of just kept trickling down. What about Grant? Give me, I mean, you could do an hour on Grant, but just.
Just once again, I go back to work ethic, but Irvin Green, Coach Green says to me one day, you got to go to a youth game. And I said, Coach, I'm tired, man. I haven't seen my wife and, baby. He said, got to go to a youth game. We got to check out this kid. I said, what's his name? He said, what times he play? I said, oh, so we slide over there. And I just go, my goodness.
Yeah, because he was raising hell. I mean, their AAU team was raising hell nationally when he was like 7th, 8th grade.
7th, 8th grade. I looked at and I said, and the thing about he was unselfish. That's major part of his game is being unselfish, but knows when he needs to take charge.
Right.
He was doing that when he was in the youth leagues, and he's playing in the youth league. He wasn't playing in the select league. He was playing in the youth league. Right.
Yeah, and I noticed I was lucky enough to be there substitute teaching after undergrad to watch some of his games, and it seemed like there was an intentional change where he went from being more of a post player to handling the ball a lot. Was that something you guys talked about? Were you prepping him for the next level? What went into that decision?
Well, I told Grant as a freshman, and as a freshman, he didn't want to play with the varsity because he wanted to play
with his friends,
with his buddies.
Yeah,
and we got that through to him that no, you're a little better than them,
and your buddies want you to play varsity.
Exactly. You can socialize and do all that later on. So Calvin, it's funny. I'm digressing, but Calvin said, I called home and told Calvin I said, I got him up on the varsity, but he really doesn't want to stay. He said, Coach, he said, don't worry about it. I got that taken care of. It'll be okay tomorrow morning. So it was taken care of. We laugh about that all the time. Grant and I.
Okay. Right.
Good question. Now, see, I digressed. I apologize. See,
No, that's great. That's great.
What was your question?
The question was about transitioning from post to handling the rock a lot.
His first year, all I wanted him to do was rebound and stick backs and 12 footers, 10 footers. That's all you had to do. By mid-season, he's doing more than that, and you could see that he had the fluid action. So the next year, I started moving him out a little more, and by the time he was a junior, he was a point guard because. Right. I mean, he's a 6'8" point guard, and people going, why don't you have that boy inside? He needs to be inside. Well, I can still rub a little pick off, and he can post up down low, or he can shoot while he wants to. So,
right. No, I love that move, and I just, because people would ask me, and I'm like, he's preparing for the next level.
And he's the best ball. What do you do with your best ball handler? You put him down in the block, and he can't get the ball.
Yeah, right. And I tell kids that even if they're in high school and they're 6'5" or taller, I don't care if your coach has you in the post. I want you working on your ball handling because if you can create off the dribble, you can write your ticket pretty much. Yeah, all right, so another one, Joey Byrd.
Wow, Joey just boy, what can I say?
He's a character.
He's a character. But he could do it all. He really, I really, he could do it all. He could handle, he could shoot it, he could pass it, he could dunk over top of you. He was hungry. He enjoyed the game. And the thing about kids from the Reston area, they played outside. They played at the park. They played, and they had rivals against each other. It was just like when I grew up. We played at James Lee Elementary, and you got invited to play up with the big guys, and you worked your way through things. I mean, here's a kid, he got knocked on his butt a lot because when he was smaller, he was a skinny, tall kid, but he learned how to be tough and hungry and had the desire for the game.
Yeah, that's, talking about the playing outside, that was a game changer. Besides having Michael in my life, Mark Seneca in Newbridge Court was like a paradigm shift for me mentally, because when I moved to Reston and the first time I saw him play, I got on Bruce Monlow's summer league team, and I show up and I see this dude just doing work with both hands. I said, man, I got work to do.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, he was undersized, but man, he was so good in the post. Good in the post.
Undersized, but get those long arms.
Yeah. His arms were like 7 feet. And he had big hands. So we used to battle. Yeah, we used to battle at Newbridge Court all the time. And it was so small, you could only do like 4-on-4. And that's why we moved it over to Twin Branches, because it just started getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then, you drive by, like Newbridge was hidden. Newbridge or Twin Branches, you could drive by and say, oh, there's a pickup game. Let me stop. So that was another great change that was made there in wrestling. All right, so I got another one for you. Troy Allen.
Oh, my.
Now, before you say anything, I'm going to tell you what I tell my father.
Okay.
You were mailing it in with me. You were mailing it in. You had it so easy. And then Troy comes along and made you earn, just as Pops had to earn his dad title, you had to earn your coach title. Because dude was high maintenance. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
You say he's high maintenance, but if you put everything in perspective and you put a person in leadership, in leadership positions, they learn how to take on responsibility. Big brother's not there anymore to say you got to do now it's on you. Pop's not good because you're accountable to me now.
Yeah, the good thing was we were so far apart. Nobody even knew me by the time Troy got to high school. So he carved his own little niche. And I think the big difference was I was low maintenance, but I didn't get you any championships. Troy got you a 3-peat regional. Yeah. So, there's a lot to be said for that high maintenance.
Yes.
And I don't think that was done before or it was done since with whoever was on those 3 teams.
Yeah. Now, we were fortunate. Right? It was a special group of guys that came through to be able to accomplish that. And if they were not selfish, they were able to give. They had we had a lot of ups and downs, but they were able to overcome those because they believed in each other and they actually listened. That's the big thing of listening, knowing that what a coach is telling you to do and you accomplish it. We were playing, we lost some games were forfeited. And because of the situation, we're not going to talk about that, but that's water over the dam. Some games were forfeited. And we're playing Lee High School, and Lee's won every game. Lee doesn't want to play us. And all they got fast, all they want to do is pick tempo up. So we run a press break that gives it to our second man because they were taking away our first man. Troy had a field day. It was like, man, coach, you mean I get to run second cut? Yeah, you got second cut, plus you get to score.
I actually was at that game, and I remember because Lee had a player, was it Kobe Turner? Was that?
Yeah.
Who was really good. So Troy was hyped about going up against him because he was competitive that way. Right. And I think he was even sick or dehydrated or something, maybe because he was bringing the ball up so much. But yeah, that was again a situation like Grant. He was your best ball handler, and you guys went and stole that game from him. You didn't steal it; you earned it.
Right.
But that was a fun game to watch because they were steamrolling everybody.
They hadn't lost a game. They were coming in to play us. They knew we were going to be pretty good. We had dropped some games, so we had to be able to beat them to do what we needed to do. And we rallied. I mean, our guys just rallied and got after each other, and it was super. It was just super experience as a coach.
Now, you got to coach Mike Zach too, right?
Yep.
Did you? Yeah. Tell me about him.
Mike Zach was like the little Larry Bird,
Jim Rat.
Yeah. Just moves. He's smooth. He went to Georgia, had a good run there. Mike surprised people because here you go, you got this kid that's that needs a suntan. Like he's just
he's a little pasty.
And my son and him, Jason and he were tight as can be, and he just got the job done. I mean, he's a great jump shooter, just a great jump shooter, and off the floor jump shooter. Also was able to penetrate and give it to people at the right spots, but could finish, knew how to finish.
He's teammates with your son, Jason.
Yes.
Man, I remember Jason was probably 5 or 6 years old when I was playing.
That's how old you are.
I know. The time flies. So you had this wealth of talent, D1 players, the recruiting process. So I'm assuming I was the first player you had that was getting recruited because that was your first year, and it was my last year.
Right.
One of my memories of one of the first schools that came was VMI, and my grandparents were night owls, which made my father a night owl, which made me a night owl. So military academies, those hours weren't conducive to what I was trying to get done. So I remember saying, Coach Byrd, don't even waste their time.
Exactly.
I think I did the same thing with the Ivies because I didn't want to study that much.
Right.
But Penn State was kind of ironic because I got the media guide in 10th grade from Coach Dunn, and there weren't a lot of brothers on the team.
Right.
And I was like, man, I don't know that I want to go to Penn State. But then I took the visit and I said, well, I can just recruit all the brothers to come and play. Right. So that's what ended up happening. But how did your recruiting knowledge evolve? Because I think also, Pops wasn't involved at all in my recruiting. And I think you were kind of puzzled by that because you would say, what does your father say? And I'd be like, well, it's it's on me.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, his whole thing was, I already played college football. My college career is over. I don't want you coming back at me saying I made you do something. Exactly. So he was really hands off. But how was you had me, but then you have all these guys that were going to much bigger schools and more heavily recruited than I was. So your recruiting process had to evolve a little bit, huh?
Yeah, it evolved, and also listening to other really top-notch coaches, college coaches, and some top-notch high school coaches, how they handle situations. I developed a philosophy on how recruitment should be for our kids coming out of Reston, and it worked. I used, for example, looking at the schools that are coming in to recruit you. Would that be a school that you would, if you got hurt, for example, would you want to go there, or is that just where you want to go play? Try to get that through to all of our student athletes that played, that you have to have an opportunity. You're going to get an education. If you're coming from, mom and daddy want you to get an education. You got to be able to have an education. So let's do it the right way. Now, if you think you're going to be Mr. Super NBA, not many people make it. Not many people. So you may not make that big dollar. So let's make the in between dollars.
Let's have a plan B. Let's have that fallback plan.
So, the recruiting, that aspect of it it evolved after you. I mean, you're like the first child, for example.
I am, in the family too. Again, yes.
First child in the family, you coddle it and you take care of it. And, you make sure everything's okay. So we knew you were okay. Second child, sometimes, is that you? I'm sorry. Can you still see me?
Yep, I still got you.
Something just came up. You remind me later. So still there?
Yep,
I
I'm here.
can't see you, but
Well,
you
it's probably good that you don't have to see me, but I can see you and hear you.
okay. But the second child, you just, you may drop them a little bit, but you pick them up and you coddle them a little bit also. And I learned a lot from all of that, and it worked out well for us. And being able to cut down to you look at your choices, get three programs that you really are bona fide going to be there with, and it all worked out. And having a lot of communication. Having a lot of communication with moms and dads and what they wanted for their kids as well.
Right. So you've mentioned two games, the one, the district final with the tip and dunk by Grant, and you mentioned Troy's game against Lee and Kobe Turner. What are some other memorable games from your illustrious career?
I tell you, there's a lot. There are a lot. I know that one that a lot of people really, every time I go back to wrestling and I'm around different players, the last golf tournament, for example, I'm with Dustin Halinga and that crew. And Dustin said, "Coach, I think the ball went in the bucket." Well, I don't know if you remember that game. That game was, we were down huge at halftime. We must have been down 28 in the state finals. I mean, it was, we were getting spanked. We go in the locker room at halftime, and coach is looking at me like, give me some help, coach. And I asked different people to leave the locker room, and we had a debate. We got after each other. We said, we didn't come down here to not give our best performance. And the players stepped up, and they did the same thing. And we had an opportunity. We pressed them so hard, they didn't know what happened. They just did not know what hit them, and we lost by 1 inch. I mean, the ball went in. And let me tell you, Dustin, you talked to Dustin Hellinger. We set up a play. It was all designed nicely. Dustin went to the left-hand corner. He shot the ball. It went in, and it came out. And we won the state championship. The ride home, it was so quiet. I mean, nobody, I was exhausted. I sat by, the family's with us. I sat by myself. I passed out for about 10, 20 minutes. The bus was quiet. One of the players came up to me and said, "Coach, it's okay if we put on a video. We're okay now." We're okay now. I said, "Sounds good. Let's put something on good," because we used to show all kind of videos and stuff like that. But that's right. We had a lot of memorable opportunities and occasions, but that last jump shot by Dustin that went in and came out to win.
What year was that?
What year was that? Oh,
I know they all blend.
Spring 2003. I'm not sure. I would have to look it up.
So I have to give credit to Julian Brown, because he is like the griot for Northern Virginia basketball, right. And he's like Rain Man. And he gave me a lot of these questions, and he had one question that I wanted to ask you, and maybe this is the same game. Was it against Highland Springs?
Against Highland Springs, 2003.
Okay,
yes.
I wanted to make sure that was the one that he was talking about.
Yeah, I probably moved too quickly for that. Yeah, that was it. I mean, packed. I mean, it's packed too. I mean, we packed fans. We had support, amazing support out of the Reston area, the Northern Virginia area, because we want to say Reston, but the Northern Virginia area that supported our team to win the state championship, and we just came up a little short. I mean, it's tough sometimes. You got to swallow hard.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it all. I mean, do you miss it?
At first I did, but what my mom and dad used to say is, if you have that itch, you may want to put a little lotion on it. So there are other things there. I enjoyed the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity to have coached, but the but is it's for somebody else right now. I'm enjoying my nonprofit. I'm enjoying playing as much golf as I can.
That's what I figured. I was going to ask you. You must be playing a lot of golf.
As much as I can, as much as I can.
And how did you land on Wilmington?
Well, we used to vacation with timeshare up in Myrtle Beach area. And as we decided, our retirement was slowly coming up, we started looking at areas from that area, from Myrtle Beach up through Virginia, and wound up Wilmington was one of the ideal places. You have to look at, you are getting older. You have to look at, you hate to say this, but you have to look at, you have good medical, you have, a good housing situation for you, all those variables that play into getting older. And I wanted to make sure that I had a golf course near me that I could play every day if I wanted to. And Joni, make sure the beach was close. So
there you go, Joni. Yeah, I'm with Joni.
Her beach is 7 minutes away. So she can get to Carolina Beach in 7 minutes, and she can be with her chair in the sand in 7 minutes. So,
you got it down. It sounds like you got your day-to-day figured out. You're golfing and she's on the beach.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
All right. And what about the kids and grandkids? Update me.
All the kids are doing well. Jason and his wife, Janet, with two boys, they have two grand boys with them. And they're hooting a holler. They are growing up so well. We're fortunate, especially with the pandemic, to have an opportunity. That was our cluster, our core that we could.
Your firm that you could be around. That's awesome.
And Brittany is, and she's married, and she has a little girl that is, I know you got to shake your head. She's almost 3, 2.5, and she's getting, and she will, within the next 3 weeks, 2 weeks, she'll have another girl. So
man, it's heartwarming and awesome and just a punch in the gut at the same time.
But you have to realize, when you played for me, you were like my assistant coach. You were just as old as I was anyway.
I think, I just regret I couldn't get you a district championship. I think I did a little bit too much deferring and not. I did shoot a lot, but there was times I probably could have shot a lot more just to keep the chemistry. Right. But that team, if you remember, we had some characters and some strong personalities. So I was just trying to hold it together because it was your first year. You didn't need drama.
Very strong personalities.
Yeah. But you more than made up for what I couldn't deliver. But it was awesome to have both you and Coach Lewis as my coaches, especially from where I was. I had never had a black coach my whole life. And then to have two who were great role models too. Although, I'm still not married and have no kids. You guys did set a nice bar for like what a family looks like and community and all that. So it was definitely a gift to be able to play with you guys. So I was really looking forward. I think Julian wanted to do this interview, but I'm like, no, I got to catch up with Coach, see what's happening. And you're still looking young, sold your soul to the devil or something.
Hey, feeling good day by day. Things get a little slower sometimes, but
right. The body doesn't move like it used to. But I remember you and Coach Lewis playing with us in pickup games. You were like in your late 20s, I'm guessing, right?
You're right.
Man, those were good days. Well, I appreciate your time, Coach. And Paul and I have made it our pact that we're going to be at that golf tournament this year. Golfing, and we're happy to help. It's a great cause, and you did so much for the South Lakes and Reston community. You're like icon, man.
Well, I really appreciate it. I want to say this though, that really appreciate what you did for South Lakes, but there's so many people, so many players that don't get recognized that didn't get the time on the court or didn't. We couldn't have done it without everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's important for people to understand, with Facebook and all this, people get upset because they're not recognized and things like that. We had some tremendous athletes. Not everybody gets the accolades that they need to have and everything, but as a total unit, we brought it together, and I really appreciated all of the players, every player that we had that was part of South Lakes. You know, I was looking I sent a note out to my coaches last night. And, you know, I said, well, how many D1, D2, D3 players, you know, did we have? And we have over 60 players that went on to college to play college basketball or even football, baseball, soccer. I mean, my son, you know, he played for me. It was the love of my life. You know, he did a great job playing basketball, but he was able to get a soccer scholarship at Duquesne University. You know, we had
Duquesne,
John O'Leary, who was one of my assistant coaches, but was a point guard with Troy and them. You know, he plays baseball for University of Virginia. You know, we had some great athletes that did some great things throughout. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you did for South Lakes and all of the players at South Lakes.
Coach, I was just holding on to number 32 till Grant could represent it well after Michael. That's all I was doing. I just didn't want to embarrass the number. That's it. Take care. Please give Joni a hug and a smooch for me, and tell Jason and Brittany I said hello too.
We hope to see you at the tournament. Okay.
You're going to see me and Paul, and I'm sure Troy's going to want to be a part of it too. He's already done it, but I have to do it. I owe it to you.
Okay, buddy.
All right, man. You take care. Love you.
All right. Love you too. Take care.
All right. I'll see you. Bye.